All right, Lindsay. Lindsay, where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
Evansville, Indiana.
Evansville is where?
It's the most southern point of Indiana.
The very southern tip.
Yeah.
That's right. How'd you grow up? What was your family like?
Mom and dad divorced early, but mom was a single mom. We didn't want for nothing. We didn't want for nothing. I had a really, really good childhood. Catholic school, the whole nine. Really good childhood.
What kind of friends do you have?
I kind of, none in the Catholic school system. I went the opposite direction. It's always intrigued me. Ever since I saw the movie Blow. When I saw the movie Blow, it was just over after that.
Are you the black sheep of your family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think that happens to some people?
You can't help who you are. I mean, you can't help what interests you.
Right.
And
But what is it that made you interested in the dark side of things?
it wasn't the dark side. It was the fast-paced life. It was the money. I mean, it was the nice things. I wanted nice things.
When did drugs start for you?
I started interview-Lindsay using methamphetamine when I was 14.
Who introduced you to that?
A family member.
Family.
Yeah.
So it's in the family.
If family can't fuck you, who can? You know what I'm saying?
You graduate high school?
Yep. Yep.
But you were already doing drugs, so
Yeah, I was already doing drugs
all through high school.
all through high school.
Did it help you in school?
You know, in a way it did, because I was prescribed, a stimulant, Adderall, whenever I was a kid. And when I lost my insurance, it was kind of like I went searching for that same stimulant to keep me focused.
They're similar, right?
Very similar. I mean, you look on a bottle of Adderall, it says methamphetamine salt. I mean, you can't get no more direct than that.
And you can find it down in Evansville?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you used to. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, it's just not in one migrated, saturated spot. It's everywhere.
Yeah, the whole country, it seems to be.
Everywhere.
Everywhere I go, it seems to be very
Yeah.
popular.
But see, there's a difference, though. It's what it is now, it didn't used to be. It's
heard that.
it's trash now. Like,
I've heard that so many times.
it's not even worth doing. It's worth getting sober. It's not even, I mean, it's not worth dying. It's not worth spending your money on, for sure. When the average homeless person has an 8 ball of dope in their pocket, there ain't no money in it. It ain't worth doing no more.
And the quality is,
If you ain't making 50% in anything you're doing, then you ain't got no business doing it, is how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? And the quality's, not only that, but the dynamic of the drug changed. Like, how you come down, how you feel, it makes you go fucking crazy now. Or you die. Because you don't know what's in it. And nobody's got a conscience anymore. They'll just say whatever.
back then, were there a lot of people having these psychotic episodes that you see now?
No. Not unless they were just on a good one for too long.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what they're doing.
I mean,
They're up for 6 days and they're,
no, you can. I'm a recovering addict. I've been clean now almost 4 years. I've relapsed one time. I won't do it again. It's just not worth me doing. It's trash.
what got you to stop other than that? Do you have kids?
I got two boys. I got a 10-year-old and I got another son I put up for adoption. And actually, when I leave here, I'm going to South Bend to see him for a surprise visit. So, it's kind of pretty cool right now.
The meth was the reason that you lost them?
No, well, the mess, the reason why I lost my oldest. I was in a really abusive relationship with his dad. He poured drain cleaner down my throat. That's kind of why I talk the way I talk. You know what I'm saying? CPS got involved. I went on a binge, bro. I did everything I wasn't supposed to do. My mom got my son. About 2.5 years later, I decided, I got locked up in Mount Carmel, Illinois. And I was done. They transferred me back to Vandenberg County on a warrant. Vandenberg County got too overcrowded. They sent me up to Washington, Indiana. Washington, Indiana offers a drug rehab program inside their jail for long-term people. I went through that. It's called RARE. I then put myself in rehab in Washington after I got out willingly. My sponsor died of COVID 2 years ago. My dad died, it'll be 3 years ago, the 29th of this month, in 9 days. And it just wasn't worth it anymore. My son was getting older. He was going to remember me, where before he was old enough He's old enough now where he's going to remember where, before he was young enough where he wouldn't remember that I wasn't there. And boy, I had to jump through hoops. He's been adopted by my mom, changed his last name on me. I mean, it's been a ride. I had to become a homeowner before she'd even let me start seeing him again. He's 10 years old now. They took him when he was 18 months old. I finally got my first visit 2 years ago. I've been clean 4 months. And then I had another one while I was in rehab. And I put him up for adoption because I couldn't raise him in front of my oldest. And my oldest come to me later and asked me why I raised him and not him. Just morally, I couldn't do it. And I knew it was right what I was doing. And I did what I did. And my whole life has changed since.
For the better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you make one selfless decision and it's like your whole thought process changes. Because I used to be a grimy motherfucker, I ain't gonna lie.
You get some stories, I'll bet.
I got some doozies, bro. I mean, but I wouldn't change nothing.
You enjoyed it?
I enjoyed that. Hey, keep your arms and legs side to ride at all times. It was a motherfucking fun ride, bro. It was fun, man. Love it. I mean, I light up when I talk about it. That last one, no. That wasn't fun. That drug changed. That ain't the same drug.
What kind of stories you got?
We used to hit the co-op at 7 a.m. while they'd be clocking into work still in their anhydrous. While they'd be clocking into work, we'd be still in their anhydrous in the mornings. Let's see.
That's an ingredient for...
Yeah, I got it tattooed on me right there. 1005 anhydrous ammonia.
You were cooking it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got more out of cooking it than I did doing it. It was fun, bro. I mean, the people, just the lifestyle. Like, I met some really, really, really good people. Met some really good people during it. And now we're all clean, and it's like... Okay, so when I relapsed, I ran into my buddy again, and he had just got out of prison, and we were comparing, who had better shit. Well, I thought I had better shit, but he had, he had the better shit, to be honest with you, so I didn't. Like, they're all lined up on a couch like that, and I'm sitting in a chair like this, and they're all looking at me, and I did this shit, you know what I'm saying? And I got up, and this door is it's locked. It's an old Victorian door, and it's locked like 3 doors down. Nobody can ever get this door open. They said I jumped up, opened that fucking door, ran out, ran across the street they said I walked on water across the creek, ran into the bookstore and stripped asshole fucking naked, stashed my fucking shit and ran the fuck back out. I don't remember none of it. I don't remember none of it. But I mean, I guess I did it.
Drugs are fun.
I wouldn't say drugs are fun. Drugs are fun if they're good and the people you're around. It's a completely different. If you can trust the people you're around, it's one thing. If you can't trust the people you're around, you don't know what the fuck you're getting. You're gonna end up fucking dead. You're gonna end up dead.
What kind of crowd of people were you hanging out with? Bikers and things like that?
No, just some good old Posey County boys. Just good old farm boys. We just had fun. Like, we all were just interested in the lifestyle. We got more out of standing behind our product than we did doing the product. You know what I'm saying? It was like our badge of authenticity right there.
So you were selling too?
I'm not going to indulge in that on camera, so.
Admit that on camera.
I mean, I had a hard time doing my step work when I got sober because I didn't want to write it down. I mean, we'd have to burn my step work every time after we did it because I thought I was incriminating myself. I wouldn't do it. She had the hell of a time getting me to do my step work.
What's your biggest regret?
Not spending enough time with my dad before he died. But I guess I got clean just in time before he died, so, but yeah, that. But he always stood behind me, so it was like no matter what I did, That's part of the reason why I got clean, because he was sick, he couldn't work. Like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I had nobody to send my paperwork home to no more. I had nobody I could trust. I had nobody put money on my books. Like, I had nobody. Like, I got people, but I don't have a motherfucker like that no more. That was my rock. I mean, motherfucking Freddie was my rock, man.
Your dad?
My dad. Yeah. Oh, Freddie. That man bonded me out on $100,000 cash.
He did.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to get me to another county because I didn't like where I was sitting, where I had another warrant.
And you did some jail time.
Oh, I've done a lot of jail time. I've done prison time, you know, I mean.
What was that for? Just drugs?
I mean, the initial charge, yeah, but in the end, it was because I failed on probation. You know, fuck probation. Ride me out. I ain't paying you motherfuckers. I'm not.
What does crystal meth do for you?
It made me very productive. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like,
I've heard
bro, it made me very productive.
I don't want these videos to become like, you know,
I mean, you could just, like, seriously, you could, like right now, like today's the first time I've had myself all the way together, I'd say in probably 3 years. Like any other time, if I was on that shit, my makeup will be done every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now it's just like hair up in a bun, t-shirt, shorts. You know, I have no...
You have more energy, more focus.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I should say more self-confidence.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
You know what I'm saying? More self-confidence. I mean, but then in the same sense, it's like you hate yourself at the same time. I can remember one time I took all the mirrors out in my house because I didn't even want to fucking look at myself at that point. You know what I'm saying? I mean, fuck that shit. I didn't want to look at myself. I made myself sick. I weighed 76 fucking pounds. It was horrible. It was horrible. Horrible.
What are the downsides of it?
You lose every fucking thing. You lose everything. Your kids, your house, your family, yourself, your well-being. Your self-respect. I mean, you lose. And I don't care. Anybody who can sit here and say they ain't never done this or that, they're a fucking liar. Because I come from a good family and I held a very high standard with what I did and how I did it. And I'll say this, like I said, I was a bottom of the barrel motherfucker at one point too. You get to that point and that's when you're ready to climb. Either you stay there or you change it. You recognize it or you don't. And I had to recognize it. I was worth getting sober.
How'd you quit?
I went to jail.
Cold turkey.
Cold turkey. I mean, that's the only way to do it. I don't give a fuck. You don't substitute one drug for another drug to come off of another drug. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. Either it's here. Either you want to or you don't. Or you use, like, I'm going to admit something on camera, and I really hope this doesn't get me in trouble by my mother, but, you know, when I lost my son to begin with, I used that as a crutch to get high again, you know, like an excuse. When my dad died this time, I used that as an excuse to get sober. I didn't.
Whatever it takes.
I got another high in me, Mark. I ain't got another recovery. I ain't got another one in me. It ain't gonna happen. It's a one-time shot.
Is it difficult?
Oh fuck yeah, it's difficult. It's more difficult to see your friends still doing what they're doing though. That's the more difficult part. Because, you know, I always say, if I can get higher, you know, if I can get clean, anybody can. And they're like, oh, everybody says that. No, I mean that. I mean that.
Now that you're clean and you see old friends who are still using, what do you think?
It's just, it hurts my heart. Like, I don't judge them, you know what I'm saying? Because at any time I could relapse. That could be me tomorrow. That could be me in 10 minutes. My heart just hurts for them. It just goes out to them. It's like I try to encourage recovery because it's wiping my generation out. I mean, it's bad. The only thing my generation did was get on drugs to have babies, to have them taken, for our parents to raise them, to give CPS fucking jobs. It's horrible down there in that part of the country.
Is it because there's not a lot to do? Did people get involved in drugs?
I wouldn't say there ain't a lot to do. There's a lot of money in that city. If you're following what I'm saying, there's a lot of money to be had in that city. Like it's not some it's not some big city. It don't look like a lot of money, but there's a lot of money down there. There's a lot of money down there. I mean, and a lot of people think like I do down there.
You know, I've been all through Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia.
I mean, I'm right there, Kentucky, Tennessee, right there at the border.
You're right at the tip of that.
Yeah. I mean,
Indiana's at the
meth capital of the world, if you ask me. I mean, point blank, meth capital of the world.
In those states I just mentioned, it's so prevalent, it's crazy.
Okay, I must say this.
And I'm sure Indiana's not much better.
When I started, it was kind of like the taboo thing. I was young doing it with an older crowd, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like a hush-hush thing. We got a thing, you know, where you can see who's gone to jail and who's got arrested and shit. And it's more common now to see 18-year-olds through 26-year-olds getting caught with needles. Like, that's just unheard of, that generation doing what they're doing. Like, they made that a real dirty drug now. You know, it used to be real, what used to be real, like, pure, clean, you know. Now they've put a bad name on it, a bad stamp on it. Like, I don't want no part of
And
it,
you
bro.
were injecting it, smoking it, or turkey basting it?
Oh, injecting it. I shot dope for 20 years. I got slave to the needle tattooed on my motherfucking right foot. And I don't give a fuck. Cleanest way to put a drug in your body if you do it right. I don't care. I had fun doing what I'm doing. Never wore long sleeves neither. I loved it. I loved it. That's why I had to quit, man. That's why I had to quit. And you can't get the shit to make the shit no more.
It was the ingredient that you can't get.
Pseudoephedrine. I mean, you can get it, but you got to go sign for that shit. I ain't leaving no paper trail. Not doing it. I'm not doing it. And then, you got this other shit they're making in it. It ain't all cracked up to be what it is. It's just trash. It's just trash.
Your life is better now.
So my life's real good now.
What are the downsides of being clean?
All I do is work, which that's not a downside. But I work, I go home, I sleep. It's just monotonous. It's repetitive. Like, there's no excitement in my life whatsoever. There was always excitement in my life with that shit, I mean, it was like every day, like, catastrophic events were happening, and it was cool. Now it's just like, my mom said when you get older, a boring life's a good life. I understand that now. A boring life is a good life. Meaning my kid's older, I need to be a role model. I mean, he already has to probably answer enough questions at school, so.
Is being ADHD part of the
Oh, it's horrible.
reason you fall into it?
Oh yeah, I'm a strong believer in that. I'm a strong believer in that, and I blame the medical field. They know what they're doing. They know what that does, and they know what happens. I mean, you get so dependent on something. What are you going to do? You're going to go find the next best thing. I didn't know what to do at that age. I mean, I had a standard I had to hold with my mother, and there was things shit had to be done, and I had to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only thing that got me through doing it. I wasn't a good student by no means, but I fucking did it.
Is there a fear that you'll go back?
There's always that fear. Because you never know.
It's good to be aware that that's possible.
I'm not going to say I'm better than the next, and I'm not going to, because like I said, I was pretty raw with it, but I knew I was worth getting sober. If that makes any type of sense. Like, I met a woman in jail that came in and did church, Lisa Beckner, and she just basically made me see my self-worth for everything. And it was like my whole thought process started changing at that point. And my dad dying, and my son getting older and putting the one up for adoption, and I had to hold myself to a certain standard at that point. It's like at work now. I sit there and it's like I don't try to find an employee to try to be competitive or be better than. I try to outwork myself the next day. I set my stopwatch, and I try to be faster than I was the day before, or I try to walk more steps than I did the day before. I mean, you can hear me in there. Come on, Lindsay, go, go, go. It's kind of like I've substituted that. That's a side effect. I'm constantly moving. I mean, I have people at work that ask me, Lindsay, do you ever slow down? Yeah, I go home and die after this, but
I think there are people that take the crystal meth or start using crystal meth because they want to lose weight.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, I've gotten huge. There's another thing with the self-confidence. That's another reason why I don't dress up anymore. Like, there's just no point in it.
Not that everyone who takes it is going to lose weight.
Right.
Some don't.
No. And it's like you look at them, you're like, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand it. I can do a little bit, and 10 pounds later, you're seeing cheekbones.
Whereas other people seem to.
And then there's other people that's 300, 500 pounds on it still.
Yeah.
But your mind, the way your mind thinks is really cool on it. I've kind of gotten, I kind of play process of elimination now on everything. And it makes sense and it works. Like, I used to do a shot of dope, and I had this notebook. And anytime I'd do a shot of dope, I'd sit there and write down any fucking crazy thought going through my head. Like, it was fucking wild. I wish I could have found that motherfucker. There was some shit in that motherfucker. It was wild. It was wild.
Lindsay, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
If the only thing you do for the day is breathe, that's perfectly fine. Because you got to stop and think about what you're doing. If you don't stop and think about what you're doing, then you ain't got no business doing it, because then if something bad happens, you can't blame nobody else but yourself. And that's just, that's the thing about me. I've never blamed nobody for anything that's ever happened to me but myself. And it took me a long time to get to that point. A long time. It took me a long time to get to the point where I enjoyed getting high. Like, I literally pushed my family out of my life for a long time. My mom drove down the road for 2 years and wouldn't even, literally would look at me for 2 years driving down the road and wouldn't even look over and wave at me. She didn't want fucking nothing to do with me. She still don't want fucking nothing to do with me, probably. I mean, but she has to. I'm a different person, but still, she don't think I am. She still don't think I am. She ain't talked to me in 4 days. Matter of fact, I ain't talked to her in 4 days. She didn't even tell me be careful, have a safe trip, nothing.
Is it hard to change the reputation that you have?
No, because a lot of people that have seen me where I used to be, they know. I come out the fire smelling like burnt collard greens, but I did it. I mean, they know where I was. I'm with the guy now, you know, and he's been like a major focal point in the past few years. And he saw me at my worst, and I got locked up and I came back home, and then he saw me at my best, and we've been together ever since. But he's never judged me. And, you know, he makes me recognize a lot of things, and he keeps me sober. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but he's the big reason why I'm sober today.
What was your darkest point? The scar?
You know, that was the start of it. When I slit my face in half, that was the start of it. It was kind of like that. That's when I woke up and didn't recognize myself in the mirror. I was a junior in high school. I was like being a 17-year-old female and slicing your face completely in half. I mean, that's completely different.
How'd that happen?
I went through my windshield. I had about 900 stitches in my eye. Yeah.
Was that because of the meth?
No, I was actually smoking a joint of weed then. Just a joint of weed. I just smoked weed then. At that point, I was just smoking weed at that point for about 3 months. At that point, I was just smoking weed.
But did the trauma of that make you want to use?
Oh, yeah. That, and to believe it or not, the meth really helped the pain a lot. You know, and then there was a time where I got busted in my head by a girl when I relapsed. And I honestly believe if I wouldn't have done that shot of meth, it would have killed me. I think that shot of meth's what kept my heart pumping and my blood pumping. I'm a thorough believer in that. Like, it's got its downsides, but it's got its good sides too. And I know that sounds crazy as fuck too.
This is not meant to be an endorsement.
It's not meant to be an endorsement, but I mean, you got to find the positive in everything you're fucking doing. You have to. Otherwise, you're going to be in denial the whole time. And that's where I was at. The last point, I hated myself. I hated what I was doing. I knew I had no fucking business doing what I was doing.
It just seems to me like at least everyone I see that does it, ends up dismantling their whole life.
Oh, I dismantled bro.
Like they lose their kids.
I was a big softball star. I was a big softball star. I mean, like, I ruined my whole fucking life. Point blank. I ruined my whole fucking life.
You ruined it.
Yeah. But in a way, it's kind of like it's redeemed me now because people need me now. Like, I didn't have a person like me when I was getting high. If I had somebody like me when I was getting high, maybe something I said or they said, I would remember, and it might have changed my thought process, you know? I mean, I met one lady and it changed my whole thought process on things, you know? I mean, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. How should I say? It was good for the time being. It was good for the time being. It gave me a good run. It gave me a lot of fun stories and good memories. And I say good memories because they were good memories. You're looking at me like I'm crazy, Mark.
No. You had your fun.
I did. I had a whole bunch of fucking fun.
All right, Lindsay. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
I'm happy you're on the right track.
Yep.